Ghana news base. Now, news ex-president
of Guatemala. No Guatemala. Yeah, their ex-president, who is actually a female, and the first female vice president, as such, has been jailed for 15 years following a corruption scandal. Now, the first female vice president of Guatemala, who was jailed for corruption scandal, was jailed because this scandal occurred in 2015. That's 3 years ago. Now, a court in Guatemala, a Central American country south of Mexico, has condemned the ex-vice president by name Roxana Baldetti to 15 years and a half in prison for her job in what actually wound up known as the magic water scandal. I'm sure some of you have heard about the magic water scandal. Yeah. Now, before we go into that, investigators said that she stole millions from a state fund set up to disinfect a lake in Guatemala. Now, the concussion recipe utilized as a major aspect of the tidy up was an ineffectual water, salt, and chlorine solution. Now, her sibling by name Mario, who held no official post, was also involved in the arrangement and as a result also received 13 years in prison. Now, in his decision, the judge at the sitting by name Pablo Zitimul said that Ms. Baldetti, that's the vice president, was the driving force of a plan concocted to swindle the Guatemalan state. Now, according to him, she consented to pay nearly $18 million, that's 18 million US dollars, to an Israeli organization to tidy up the Amatilian Lake. I hope I pronounce it properly. It's the Amatitlan Lake. Amatitlan Lake, yeah. Now, be that as it may, the synthetic concoctions being utilized in the decontaminations ended up being generally water and salt, motivated on it being named the magic water. Now, it's funny, they use just water and salt. So that's how come the name the magic water came about. What's happening with all this jailing of presidents? Anyway, so the local Guatemalan media have hailed the decision as memorable in an area where, the rich and powerful have customarily appreciated exemption. Now, a few Guatemalan authorities and the Israeli agent, Uri Rotman, were additionally condemned to be imprisoned for, association. Now, the greatest anti-corruption protest the nation had ever observed caused her to resign from her post in the year 2015. Now, Ms. Baldetti is presently awaiting trial in a customs fraud scandal named The Line, which involves the bribing of the Guatemala's customs service by privately owned businesses. Prosecutors have embroiled, Ms. Baldetti and Mr. Otto Perez Molina, the president at the time, in a debasement scheme. Now, Mr. Perez Molina was confined toward the end of his term in 2015 and stays in custody awaiting trial, with the two still denying the charges against them. And it's strange that they will still be denying it at this point. They are still, denying it. They are denying it. That's the two of them. Anyway, so Mrs. Baldetti, worked in favor of women for the United Nations at a national level, including conferences within the Republic in partnership with Kellogg's, Central America.
Now, going straight in, um, we've been hearing this happening all the time, where there have been errors of presidents, duping the nation, or associating funds in ways that will lead to them making profits at the detriment of the nation. Now, this is a lady, and actually the first female vice president of Guatemala. According to what we heard, instead of using money, the monies that was allocated for the lake that was poisoned, for the seeing to the lake, they actually concocted something called magic water. In other words, they mixed salt and water and actually claimed that was the remedy for the lake. From what we hear, and they used the money for their own benefit. Now, these occurrences have been going on several times. It's not only Guatemala; it happens in Ghana, in Nigeria, in other countries around the world. Now, I feel like we've reached a point where we should be able to select leaders who are actually for the nation and not for getting some monies into their pockets. Now, she also included her sibling, who has no official post whatsoever, has not been in politics, has not been in government, nothing. She just brought him in, and then, and got him also part of the arrangements, and they were able to go on with the scam, according to what we hear. The sibling named Mario. Now, when she was in power, what happened was that the nation went on a protest against corruption. Now, what we heard about the leak was that she was going to pay 18 million US dollars to an Israeli organization to tidy up the leak. So that means $18 million has gone into her pocket. Wow. And they used the magic water, the salt and water, to deceive the nation. Now, in case people had believed that this lake was cured, and they went to use the water in the lake, they would have been poisoned, believing that it was actually cured, whereas it wasn't. Now, this is the mistake, they make most of the times. They are just watching their benefits. If you are taking the money and it is going into your pocket, think of the effect that is going to have on the other individual. Because there are cases where sometimes you can take money whilst it will not affect anybody. But in cases like this, it's very serious. People's lives are at stake here. So you have children going to the lake thinking that probably it's been cured, and they go get all forms of sicknesses and diseases, and yep, whatever happens to them is history. It's very sad. It's very sad. We've been always singing this song of anti-corruption in our government, and yet it still seems to be prevailing. Now, this Guatemala, I don't even want to come to Ghana. Anyway, that's a different topic for another day. So now she's supposed to face a 15-year jail term. 15 years. Can you imagine? One moment you are the president of the nation, the other moment you are going to jail. Wow. It's strange how this people who have reached the highest peak are brought low. It's happened. We've seen some occurrences in Brazil where their president was also going through something similar. I actually heard that president actually helped the nation with its economy and stuff, but then the president was found to be corrupt in some instances, and now the president is facing jail terms. And it's not only there. There have been several places. I think some parts of Korea also. I'll have to double check on that. And it's very, very strange. Imagine going to prison, and then you enter the cell, and then you see your president in the prison cell there. It's very mind boggling. The ways things are happening these days, it's very shocking. So you have a president going to jail. Now, I can't imagine what is going to happen to this president when you enter a jail, a cell where you have people who are bent on destroying government, people who have been through the wrong ends of government, people who have suffered because of the government. Imagine if you go and meet people like that in jail. uh, I think the rest will be history for you. So now this is a lady, and this is the first time I'm actually hearing a lady president facing jail term. She was actually the vice, not the main. And I wonder how come the main president wasn't part of this scam. Now Mrs. Baldetti is awaiting trial in a customs fraud scandal. The claim is called the line, and according to what we heard, that was also involving a bribing of some Guatemalan customs service by privately owned businesses. Now, the prosecutors have also pinpointed Mr. Otto Perez. He is the Otto Perez Molina there, who was the president at the time, and they claim he was also part of the debasement scheme. Now, he was also confined toward the end of his term in 2015, and he actually stays in custody, I beg your pardon, awaiting trial with the two who are still up to now denying the charges against them. Now, we don't know how that is going to end up. Maybe they'll be able to, get some lead terms from the end of judgment, but I doubt it, especially finding out that Guatemala had to go on this anti-corruption, protest. I heard it was so huge that she had to actually resign. That means it's very serious. Imagine the whole nation going about protesting because they see corruption clearly. That would be very serious, because they'll reach a point where you need serious protection. And if you are not in power anymore, what are you going to do? Because your money will not last forever, and you can't continue scheming forever. We just hope that the subsequent governments will take note and be careful when going about such instances. Well, you'd find that sometimes they don't care at all. There are people who just don't care about what happens to other individuals in the nation, and it's sad. It's very sad because before you became president, you were also a normal individual just like we are now. If you are able to put aside the life, the effects, and the consequences that are going to be facing your citizens, your people, the people who put you in power, then I feel you should not even be in power in the first place. You would remember how much you were going around singing songs of them voting for you and stuff, and finally when you've been voted for, you be treating them this way. It's not fair at all. um i i I wonder how come they are still claiming they are not, they are not guilty, but we'd wait to see what will happen. It's been happening all the time, and well, we wait to see. I also heard of this president. What's his name? The Korean president. Yo, check it out for me and give me info on that one. Yeah, there was this Korean president sometime. I don't think it's too long ago. Who was also supposed to face some jail time. Do you remember? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Not yeah, somewhere in Korea. Can you find out for me? Yeah, South Korea, right? Yeah, South Korea. Yeah, yeah. That was his name was Lee, President Lee. Yeah, he was also supposed to face 15 years on corruption charges, and I don't know how that one went. Yeah, South Korea's former president, President Lee, he's also facing 15 years, on corruption charges. It's serious. We have to be careful with the way we go about things, and I find it painful, not only because of what happens to the citizens in the nation, but also watching a president, going through that highs, then all of a sudden coming through the lows. It might be very, very disheartening for others. This is somebody who we hold in esteem, somebody who was, our father and stuff. Somebody who is the father of the nation. You get it? So it's anyway. It's life. Let's just round it up. For upcoming government, you have to be very careful. Please don't take things for granted, and always think about your citizens. It's not always supposed to be about the money. It's good money. Money is enjoyable. It does things. It makes your life easier and stuff. But come on, sometimes put yourself in other people's shoes, right? Yeah. So that's the news for you guys. Ghana News Base. Do well to leave your likes, comments, and views, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. You can follow our other news outlets, our channels, and our webpage. Have a nice day. Thank you.